Happy Wednesday, everybody. I hope that you all are doing well. There were just some things I wanted to talk to you about since last week's reading. First off, if you could, I would appreciate it if you could share last week's reading with whomever it is that you feel may need to see it. You don't have to put it on your full Facebook page if you don't want to, but I just have this feeling that some other people are needing to hear some of that because honestly it was a lot more positive than what I thought it was going to be, and I think that we need to just all really just keep focusing on the things that came up with that reading. So if you could, I would really appreciate it if you could share that with whomever you think needs to hear it and see it. I will be we're gonna see how this works, but I'm attempting to do my live video next Wednesday from Rocky Mountain National Park. Now, I'm hoping that this is actually going to work. I don't really know because it really is hit or miss with whether or not I have internet service or not. But that is my hopes and dreams of being able to do my live video from the Rocky Mountain National Park, because there are some things out in nature that I want to talk about. And I'm going to be there anyway, so that is my hopes. But it probably will not be, it'll probably be earlier than the usual time, because I'm not going to wait until 7:10 up in the mountains. I'm going to be doing it earlier in the day, if it does work out. So I'm just letting you know that you're not losing your mind if I already did my live video earlier in the day than usual. I'm just wanting to do that when there's still sunlight and all that. I do have my newsletter coming out on the 15th. That's usually when I send mine out. So if you're wanting to receive my newsletter, just message me your email and I will add you to the list. And I have openings tomorrow evening between 6 and 9. So if you are needing a reading or a Reiki session, and I am, if you want to come in, we will be wearing masks, but I am starting to let people come into the office with me, but we can always just do a phone or video reading. It doesn't have to be in person. So that is that. I have, it's really sort of interesting because I just have been taking all of the sales that I did last year, and I guess it's just being lazy. I'm just updating the dates and stuff like that. But I did the different months. I already had planned it out last year of which months were going to be which sales, and it just so happens to be June was all of the stuff about justice. And so if you are wanting to get a justice spell kit, they are on sale, and what it is I take different herbs and resins, and I write a spell out. It's generic enough. You can alter it if you want, or you can just read it how it is. Usually people buy the justice spell kits for more if they have some type of a like a court case or some type of legal matter that they are working on. But you absolutely can use these justice spell kits to help bring justice, and it's all about that energy of it. And you can read the spell. I usually read it either 3 or 9 times, and then you just toss the whole thing into a fire. So you don't want to just hold it over a candle, because all of the herbs and the resins are just going to start falling out. So you want to have it in some type of, if you have a fire pit, that's perfect. Or even if you just have a grill, you could just put it on your grill. But it has specific herbs and resins for justice, and I also anoint it with my Dragon's Descent oil that is for justice. And I also charge it with Reiki, and I use my little wax pressy thing that has the symbols on there. So if you want that, I can mail them, and it usually, with the spell kits, they're really light, so it only costs like $1 or $2 if you're needing it mailed in the United States. It's usually just like $2 tops to mail it. So if you want to purchase one of the Justice spell kits, then just let me know. Okay. Um, Now, what I wanted to talk to you about tonight is well, part of the things that I talked about last week as far as justice and continuing on this momentum of change. That we are seeing unprecedented amounts of change happening, and it is. I think that a lot of it is because I think that everybody's been aware, but I really feel like a lot of it is because of the pandemic, if that makes any sense. And if you watched my earlier videos way back when the pandemic first started, I talked a lot about how if we are all, sort of like forced into being the hermit, then we're going to be enhancing our psychic abilities a lot more because we're not nearly as distracted running around doing all these things. And I don't feel that people were not necessarily unaware, but I think people are more aware, and or if they have any type of empathic abilities, they are feeling it even more so. All of the injustices that are happening right now about the police brutality and Black Lives Matter movement. And so I think that it's sort of like propelled the Black Lives movement more so than, because a lot of people have talked about, well, why is it, what's with this one, which is horrible that we even have to talk about this instance. There shouldn't be the instances, right? But I think that because of a lot of shifts in our society because of the pandemic, then it sort of put us into that situation where we're feeling a lot more. We are a lot more aware than usual. And, and I guess that maybe some people are more able right now to go to the different protests. So it's sort of like given us this space to really promote a lot of change for the better. So, there's many different ways. If you can't, it isn't just going to the protests as far as trying to promote change. There's so many different things. Talking about this on social media. If you can donate to any of the organizations that are anti-racism, that are all over the place that you can find on social media and the internet. Educating ourselves, looking within ourselves. This is getting back to that being forced into our homes. So we're having to look at ourselves as well. And, it's not the funnest thing in the world to look to see if there's anything negative, but we all can work on ourselves more. And the even more difficult thing is having those very difficult conversations with family members that don't quite get it. That is also part of this movement. And I know that it's not fun, but doing so, just raising that awareness, just pointing things out. When normally it's like, oh, well, Uncle so-and-so is just a racist, whatever, and we're just going to let it slide because that's just how he is, I don't want people to get into fights at family reunions or anything, but at the same time, I think just having these conversations with our family members and what all it means, and what we could do to promote change, because everybody deserves to have this justice brought forward, and there has been so much injustice in this country of anybody that has any colored skin. That is just a fact. And so, we are well past time to implement these changes in our society. And it's rippled out. It's really amazing how much things have changed for the better already. I just saw that NASCAR is just, said that the Confederate flag is no longer allowed at the NASCAR races, and all of the different Confederate statues being taken down, that they symbolize slavery and all of the, nasty things that we just don't want to talk about in our society. Well, we need to talk about it. We need to change it. We need to, implement this change. Okay. Um, and so this gets to the final thing that I want to talk about, which I had posted earlier this morning on my Facebook page in the notes section. I put this is still a work in progress, of course, but this is my research of the goddesses of justice. I posted them on there because I really am hoping that if you are in any way drawn to doing any energy work, of doing even just a simple little altar that is to promote justice throughout our society. So the goddesses of justice, they are not they are not the warm fuzzies that type of goddesses like when we first started with the pandemic. I had posted all of the goddesses of healing that I have found. The goddesses of justice are a little different, okay? So if you're not feeling comfortable doing that, then that is perfectly fine. You can just have just a simple little altar that has, you can do any color candle, okay? Use whatever it is you have. But I mean, if you are specifically buying things for an altar, then a dark blue candle. You can have dark blue altar cloth. If there's any specific goddesses of justice, even just Lady Justice, you just type that into Wikipedia and there's a picture of Justicia, I think that's what her name is. That's the Roman goddess of justice, that she is blindfolded and she has the scale and the sword. That represents justice. You can have any of those symbols on there, or if you just want to print out a picture of the statue itself, that's fine. If you have a scale, an old-fashioned scale, that absolutely works, and or a gavel. I don't know if too many people have gavels laying around, but if you have one, there you go. So it's just anything that really represents justice to you, okay? And you don't have to go out and spend a lot of money. That's something that I'm always telling people, is that you don't have to have the really expensive items in order to do any type of magic. Okay, use what you have. And sometimes you even find really cool altar items at thrift shops, so you don't have to spend a lot of money, even if you happen to find something. Just be on the lookout for, even a candle holder or something like that. But the goddesses of justice, they do just that. They bring about when something has been wronged, when there has been an injustice, then they were called upon in ancient times to make things right. Okay, so I think that the list is about 3 or 4 pages long of different goddesses. The picture on there I put was of the blue Tara, the Buddhist blue Tara. So you can see that she is not, a warm and fuzzy type of goddess, okay? But, just calling upon, if you don't want to do a specific name, you don't have to, or if you just want to call upon justice, or if you want to call upon goddesses of justice, you don't have to say a specific name if you don't want to. But if you read through it and there is a specific goddess that really calls to you, maybe there's a certain pantheon that you work with already, then it has a list of goddesses from all around the world, okay? So you can look up and just see, and maybe there's one that really calls to you. But you're not calling them into your house. You're just basically calling on them to bring about justice in the United States or in the world, or just getting rid of racism, or however it is that you want to phrase it. Okay, you don't want to put call upon a specific person or something like that, as far as trying to curse somebody. Just really trying to make it where it's promoting positive change in our society, okay, and bringing about that justice, and that just making sure that the people that have done the injustice, that they are held accountable for it. I know that seems like a pretty big, tall order, but I do feel that we already have this momentum going. Keep the energy going, okay, however it is that you can. And, just doing those little things of, if you're able to go to the protests, then go to them. If you are able to donate, then to any of the anti-racism charities, then donate. But do whatever you can. Voice it. If anything, it's the voicing. It's the speaking out against injustice. Okay, that we need to have this change in our society. If we're going to evolve as a society, we have to get rid of these old viewpoints that are just constantly oppressing people, certain groups of people. We have to get rid of the oppression. Because wherever there is any type of oppression, then that society is ultimately held down by everybody. So we're not going to be able to evolve if people are oppressed. Okay. So I think that was it. Like I said, you can write out a little prayer, or you can write, whatever it is that you want. Please do not knock over my thing. Thank you very much. You can write out a little prayer, or you could say something every night whenever you light your candle, or just have the candle lit. But just trying to send out that positive energy to our society to try and promote that change. Okay. And like I said, if you could please just share my reading from last week with those people that you feel that needs to see it, because I feel that there are people that really need to hear the things that were brought up, what was in the cards. Okay. Because we need to have at least some type of a focus for all of us to, promote this change, to have this momentum continuing. All right. So I think that's it. So you all have a good evening. And like I said, next Wednesday, I am going to attempt to do my live video from the Rocky Mountain National Park. That's what I'm hoping. If you don't see me throughout the day, then I'm probably going to scramble back down home and do the video at that night if I could not get any internet service at all whatsoever. All right, so you have a good evening, and if you need to get a spell kit from me, just message me, all right? And I will talk with you later. Have a good evening. All right, bye.